Hi everyone, this is Veronica. So today our topic of discussion is this new seeds bill 2019. So we'll discuss in detail what is this new bill, what are the drawbacks. For my video updates and query, you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So now what is the relevance of this topic? Say it will be covered in your mains paper 3, major crops and cropping patterns. At objective level, you should know about trips, PPVFR. Subjective level, the salient features of the new seed bill. So now let's start with the new seeds bill 2019. See, the new seed bill 2019, it provides for compulsory registration of any kind or variety of seeds that are sought to be sold. So this is the one thing that you need to, the word is compulsory, so it is mandatory to register your variety, any kind of variety, before you sell it. And according to section 14 of the draft bill, no seed of any kind or variety shall for the purpose of sowing or planting by any person be sold unless such kind or variety is registered, right? In other words, every year it is said for the hybrids also. Like, why for the hybrids? Because even hybrids and the varieties of private companies will need to be registered, and their seeds would have to meet the minimum prescribed standards relating to germination, physical and genetic purity. So here the breeders, if we look at the breeders, would be required to disclose the expected performance also. They need to tell how well this seed is going to perform of their registered varieties under the given condition. So here the word is under the given conditions. So if the seed such as registered kind or variety, it fails to provide the expected performance under the given conditions, the farmer can claim. So if it fails, the farmer can claim compensation from the producers, dealer or distributor or vendor, but under what? Under the Consumer Protection Act. So under the Consumer Protection Act, they can claim the money back. So now this we have talked about the new bill. Okay, so here whatever I've told you, it is written here: compulsory registration about hybrids, breeders and expected performance also. Then what is the need of this bill? See, in 1966 Act, there was already a bill, that was the 1966 Act, and it only covers notified kinds or varieties of seeds. So this act, the earlier act, it only covered notified kinds of varieties or seeds. So thus this present regulation that is about to come, this draft bill, what it says, there will be regulation of quality too, and it is limited to the seed of varieties that have been officially notified. That is why present bill, it mentions the compulsory registrations, because earlier, in the earlier act, only those were regulated which were officially notified, right? So such varieties would be mostly those that are bred by public sector institutions, like for example by ICAR and the state agricultural universities. So the provision of the Seed Act 1966 apply only to certified seeds produced of notified varieties, but the new one is not like that. Here the private company and their seeds will also come in the ambit of the regulation. Now what is the context of bringing the bill? Why we are bringing this bill? Because 1966 legislation, it was enacted at a time when green revolution was going in the country, and when country hardly had any private seed industry. So the high yielding wheat and paddy varieties, which made India self-reliant in cereals, in 1980s they were developed by ICAR and your institutes like state agricultural universities only. So these public sector institutions, they have retained their dominance in breeding of wheat and paddy, even the sugarcane, pulses, soybean and etc. So over the last 3 decades or more, however, there are many private companies and many MNCs that have made significant inroads now. They are particularly into the crops that are amenable to your hybridization. So their seeds are first generation. Their seeds are the first generation hybrids produced by crossing two genetically diverse plants and whose yields tend to be higher than that of the parents. So the grains from these, even if saved as reused, even if we are going to reuse them as seed, they will not give the same F1 vigor, right? So that is why these regulations are important. So now that means that are privately bred hybrids not covered under any regulation? So that is why the current Seeds Act, as already noted, I already told you, they apply to only notified varieties, the earlier one which existed. That means which is current one, because this is just a draft, it has yet not passed from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So also, unless a variety or hybrid is notified, its seeds cannot be certified. So now most of the private hybrids which are marketed in India by virtue of not being officially released are neither notified nor certified. Instead, they are truthful labeled. So now you have to understand what is this truthful. Here I will write truthful labeled. What does it mean? So the company selling them, simply what they state, that the seeds which are inside the packets, they have minimum germination. For example, if they have sown 100, at least 75 to 80, they will say it will produce plants. Genetic purity, so they say minimum genetic purity and physical purity, that is proportion of non-contamination by other crop weed seeds or inert matter. So this is known as truthful labeling. So they are not officially released, they are not neither notified nor certified, but they are just truthfully labeled. So now the question is how the proposed bill, this of 2019, it's gonna address the above lacuna. So it does with the concept of notified variety, because by providing the compulsory registration of any kind, so mind it is any kind of variety of seeds, whether it is private hybrids, whether officially released or truthful labeled, they have to come under the ambit of regulatory purview by compulsory registration. So automatically they will be brought under regulatory purview. So it must be mentioned here that the Seeds Control Amendment Order of 2006 under the Essential Commodities Act mandates dealers to ensure minimum standards of germination, purity and other quality parameters, even in respect of other than notified kind or variety of seeds. So enforcing these mandatory registrations under the new Seed Act encompassing all the varieties and hybrids, we expect that it will bring greater accountability from the industry, even while rendering the seeds control order redundant. But let's see what it say. But definitely there are some protests and drawbacks which people are saying, which farmers are protesting, that there are drawbacks of this bill also. So let's discuss the drawbacks now. So for drawback, firstly you should know about PPVFR. Okay, so here I'll write what it is. It is the protection of plant varieties and farmers' right. Okay, the protection of plant varieties and farmers' rights. Okay, so it is an act of 2001. So it sought to achieve the delicate balance between farmers and breeders, So this is very important act. It also retained the main spirit of TRIPS also, that is your IPRs as an incentive for technological innovation. So nevertheless, this act had strong provision to protect farmers' right. So this PPVFR, it protected farmers' right. This is important for you to know. So in this regard, it recognized three roles of the farmers, that the farmer is cultivator also. Okay, because farmers were entitled to plant back rights. They are breeders also. They were held equivalent to plant breeders, and then the farmers are conservers also. Conservers means farmers were entitled to rewards from National Gene Fund also. But now, as we are seeing, there are problems, drawbacks in this. So seed registration is the first drawback. How? Because a seed bill insists on the compulsory registration. So here we will compare the new draft bill with this PPVFR. So in the new bill it says compulsory registration. However, in VVFR Act it was based on voluntary registration. Now as a result, what will happen? Many seeds may have registered under the seeds bill but may not under the PPVFR Act. For instance, a seed variety could have been developed by a breeder but derived from a traditional variety. So in this case, the breeder will get exclusive marketing rights, but no gain will accrue to the farmer as benefit sharing is dealt with the PPVFR Act, under which the seed is not registered. So farmer will get no benefit. So this is the first drawback. Next thing is about the data, because as per PPVFR Act, all applications for registration should contain complete data of the parental lines from which the seed variety was derived. So these include the contributions of farmers also. But now this new act, this allows for when you have the data, there is easier identification of beneficiaries and simpler benefit sharing process also. But this new seed bill demands no such information while registering a new variety, thus overlooking the recording of the contributions of the farmers. Again, the farmers are in loss, so the private companies are thus left free to claim a derived variety as their own. Then the problem of re-registration, because PPVFR Act, which is based on the IPR, like breeders' rights, does not allow re-registration of seeds after the validity of period. However, the new seed bills, it is based on such a principle that private seed companies can re-register their seeds. So they can do this for an infinite number of times after the validity of period. So given this evergreen provision, many seed varieties may never enter the open domain for the free use. Then seed prices. There is a very vague provision for regulation of seed prices that appears in the seed bills. However, it appears neither sufficient nor credible. In fact, strict control on seed prices has been an important demand which was raised by farmers' organizations. They have also demanded an official body to regulate seed prices and royalties. And in its absence, they feel seed companies may be able to fix seed prices as they deem fit. So it will lead to sharp rises in cost of cultivation. So if the prices of cultivation will increase and farmers do not get such an output after selling them, there will be loss to the farmers. And last drawback I would say here is of the compensation. How compensation? See, under PPVFR, if registered variety fail its promise of performance, farmer can claim compensation before a PPVFR authority. So here only everything was done under this PPVFR. But now seed bill has diluted this provision, because what they say, under the given condition, as I already told you, they said under the given condition, if it fails, farmer can claim, and that too from the consumer court. So this provision is diluted in the seeds bill, where disputes on compensation have to be decided as per the Consumer Protection Act 1986. So consumer courts are hardly ideal and friendly institutions that farmers can approach. And also, according to the seeds bill, farmers become eligible for compensation if a plant variety fails to give expected results under given condition. So it is very sad that given condition is almost impossible to define in agriculture, because seed companies would always claim that given conditions were not ensured. Again, this will be difficult to be disputed with evidence in a consumer court. So here the farmers are in loss. So for the way forward, we can talk about that given inherent nature of seeds, farmer friendly pieces of seed legislation, they're actually very difficult to frame and execute. So we have to find a policy which suits the farmers as well as the breeders as well, but at least farmers' rights are protected, and then such policy is enforced in a very good way, implemented in a very good way. So there is a particular so the influence of the private sector grows. This is a particular thing that has to be noted. And technological advances shift seed research towards hybrids. So this is a fear also. So even if hybrids are the appropriate technological choice, seed prices can be kept affordable with public institutions in place. So obviously seed prices policy is in way forward, policy is one thing, implementation is the another, and then your seed price control in the ambit of policy should be farmer and public friendly. Thus, for seed sector and its laws to be truly farmer friendly, the public sector has to recapture its lost space, because now the private companies are dominating. So we need to give a boost to the public sector also for agriculture and for this particular thing, right? So this is all about today. If you have any queries, you can connect me. Thank you.